Welcome to Jam Sessions backstage at the Nova Scotia Music Week 2021. I'm Andrew from Andrew's Alcove and the Second Button podcast. I'm here this weekend working with my brother and a co-host from Jam Sessions podcast,
Darcy Walsh. Hello, everyone.
So today, our first interview is going to be with Atay and Jax. Atay and Jax are a hip-hop duo compiled of Atay Spryfield and Jax of Lunenburg. They serve an alternative hip-hop sound with comedic undertones and small-town stories. They have a reputation for their gritty, high-energy, punk-esque live shows.
So, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey.
When I was doing research for you guys, this is one thing that it has been a thing for me with Nova Scotia Music Week in general, because we're mostly doing emerging artists, and historically, not all, but a lot of the episodes of the podcast were people that we knew going back and stuff. So when I was looking for a discography, I realized that I'm dating myself, because in the digital era, people don't necessarily have a big, long discography of physical albums. You guys have a lot of content out there, and I do see that you both had solo projects before you were working together.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with the 2020. Is Last Night the name of the album from last year?
That was our first duo album.
Yeah.
Was Last Night.
Okay. So when you guys started, were you in those towns of Spryfield and Lunenburg doing your solo stuff, or were you already in the city, like living in Halifax?
I was living in Dartmouth at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd moved from Lunenburg to Dartmouth, and I was making my solo stuff, and I think you were still in Spryfield.
Yeah, I never left.
Never left.
No, still there, actually.
Okay, fair enough.
Can't leave, actually.
Well, so start with, for you, Atay, for Spryfield.
Yeah.
What was a music scene like there when you were getting interested in music?
Non-existent.
Yeah. And then a lot of our small towns are probably like that.
Still non-existent.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. That's a whole I could do a whole 3 podcast series on what it's like to try to make music coming from there. It's not as pleasant.
Sure.
Yeah, not as accepting. Not as accepting. It sucked for a long time.
And do you think that it's partly to do with the genre? Like, you guys are a little bit of a cross-blend genre, because it's obviously your hip-hop, but it has a little bit of crossover with your alternative stuff, especially where you got a little bit of humor in there and stuff, too. It's easier for people to transition that way.
Yeah.
So Spryfield, and then you're from Lunenburg.
Lunenburg, yeah.
So same story. Like, I know Lunenburg is a historical tourist attraction.
It's mostly old people in boats. There wasn't, I can't really relate to what Atay's saying over there.
Fair enough.
But they had the Folk Harbor Festival every year where people played music, but other than that, there was no, to my knowledge, like, no one was really doing shows a lot, like, especially around my age, like from like 16 to 20, there wasn't really any bands or people trying to become emerging artists. So it was I kind of had to create my own kind of scene in Lunenburg and start doing it first, which was cool. And obviously moving to the city, it's like that's the hub for all the music. So I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So,
So when you guys, well, this is for both of you, you can answer in your own, for your solo stuff that you did early on, I realize now, and we'll get into it further, that you do have you're working with live instruments and stuff. You're not all pre-recorded beats and stuff but with your solo stuff, was it all digital stuff that you did at home, or were you working with live people?
I should probably answer this first. Before I met Jackson, I produced all of my stuff myself, and most of it was, like digital instruments and DAWs, but I did record some stuff. But once me and Jackson met, I stopped. I had too many hats, and it was like the production side of things is honestly the most time consuming, in my opinion. And it wasn't rewarding anymore. I feel like I was kind of boxed in by the way I like to produce, and we started making different genres that I couldn't produce or didn't have enough time or experience producing. So then once we met, we just we get our production usually like online from producers that we meet online and sometimes locally, depending on how it goes.
So was Shark Week your only?
Shark Week was
that was my solo,
And then, okay, so for you, you had You Deserve the Moon and Dreams Up? Or two
I had done a few before, and he had done a few before. Shark Week and Dream and You Deserve the Moon, we actually made after we met each other. So we did Last Night together. And then when COVID happened, it was kind of something where we didn't want to do our second album during COVID.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was like he had a bunch of stuff he wanted to do on a solo project, and I had really wanted to do a solo project. And so it was like, why don't we just each do a solo project, spread them out a little bit, and then once COVID's over, we'll get back and make, another album together.
Do you think that helped you building your fan base for people? Like, for myself as a music fan, and especially like when I'm researching stuff like this, like whether I want it to or not, that adds some credibility to you. That when I'm saying like, there's a duo here that I've not heard of, I go back and look, and I'm like, okay, well, they had solo stuff before. There's a little bit of history there. It does seem to add a little bit of credibility. But being that you guys were aware of that going through, did you find that like it was easier to build a fan base for you together because people knew you separately?
I would have to agree. Yeah, it was nice, bringing my fans to Atay and Atay bringing his fans to mine, because then that just merged into one beautiful thing. Right?
I think it's interesting because people, especially when you're in like a local scene or small towns and stuff, they really appreciate like novelty. And so back to talking about Spryfield, like nobody gave a shit about me making music because they all knew me as me.
Yeah.
And people definitely cared for him where he was from, but I think becoming a duo, nobody from where he's from had any idea who I was.
Yeah.
So it kind of like we make each other seem cooler to our local people because it's not just the one person they know. There's actually
it's not on your say so. Yeah. It's like, oh well, if he's working with someone else, it must be something.
You seem more credible when you're not that kid that was pissing everyone off 3 years ago.
Yeah. That's the other bad side of being in a small town is that you get so many venues, but everyone remembers everything because you've been there.
It's a small town, right? Yeah. Word gets around.
That definitely helped early on. I think.
So you guys did something. Is it Pellet Gun?
That was kind of the start of it all.
Atay hates that song now. I still love it.
Okay.
I still absolutely love that song.
And it was that was before the album came out.
Yeah, that was that
was the first single that was the first song me and Atay ever dropped together, and people just loved it. There's a lot of different variables as to why people loved it, but I think that definitely helped us get to where we're at today.
Well, it kind of birthed the idea of Atay and Jax because originally when we met, I was still doing solo stuff and he was doing stuff, and I was just going to engineer, mix, and master his album. So Pellet Gun was birthed out of like he was making his first solo album and I was helping him do it. And then he just had a beat and he was like, you should just like feature on it. So then it ended up, we just released it as like a fair duo thing, but put it on his album just so that like, I don't know. And we didn't think that much of it then, but somehow handled it well and it worked. I think it was like, it was the first time he had released where it was like really professionally recorded, mixed and mastered. So his stuff before that was really mixtapey. And so like it sounded, when you release Pellet Gun, you have a new person on it. It's a single with a video all on the same day, which he had also never really done. And I had never done a music video. Yeah. So then it was like the combination of all those factors and how much cleaner the audio was of him. And like he said, there's a lot of reasons why it worked, but it did. And we were not thinking about being a duo at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't for another year that we even thought.
No, I wasn't even sure if I liked this guy.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's joking, but we really didn't know each other. We did not know each other well.
Pretty well.
It was like 3 months, and that song came out probably, and it was like we didn't know. Like I had hung out with him, maybe a couple handfuls of times.
Yeah. It's not enough to really get to know somebody,
Well, by the time you made that PG-13 video, which would probably be next one,
we were boys.
That you guys,
we were close by that.
I don't think that video would have worked if me and AJ weren't
that song friends. Never would have happened.
No, gosh, no.
Was that your next single that you had out after that, or?
Well, we did his album, and then after that, we kind of did take a bit of a break. I went away and then came back, and we were kind of working on stuff the whole time. And then I came home from away doing university, and then we were like, okay, let's make a duo album. Like, let's make a. But
People
even
loved
still,
it,
we
know?
weren't supposed to be a duo yet. Like,
Yeah.
Even when we dropped the only duo
Just
album,
denial.
we were not
constantly.
We were like unsure of it or something. I don't know.
absolutely.
I think we wanted to hold on to the integrity of being solo artists because there is something very special about that. But now I feel like we found a way to do our solo thing even on a duo
album.
Yeah, well, the gut instinct is to just do a cross promotion and move on your own.
Yeah,
but you guys obviously are doing well together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like it a
great.
lot more together now. And at first, like we had this stupid idea that we both had to be on every song, and it's just not necessary. Like we identify as a group, which means that like we can have a song that like I'm not even on, or
and it's still Atay and Jax.
Yeah.
because we're both in the studio writing and recording and mixing it all together. So it's like it's still technically both of ours in any in varying percentages, but
Fair. And I've noticed that a lot with, especially, I mean, in general, for the bands that we've interviewed in the past, especially because most of them were Pictou County based. Everyone knows each other. There's a lot of interactions. But I'm digging into all these other bands from Halifax. Everybody's in everyone else's band. And that actually led me to my next question, where I was asking about having live instrumentation for your background music. Connor Booth plays drums with you guys.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that he is in multiple bands.
Yeah, we're
here
actually
today.
interviewing Tim from Good Deer
lovely.
Goods
Yeah,
later
yeah,
today.
yeah. Awesome.
yeah, that's his brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Connor Booth is my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Unfortunately,
yeah, I think like the way it started, I was doing solo shows, and the very first solo show I ever did was a live band, like with me playing hip hop.
Cool.
Didn't do that for another 5 years.
Okay.
But I think we've done a bunch of shows where it's just a DJ and two mics and me and Atay up there. But there's something about the energy and the music that we make that when you add guitars and drums, it takes it to that extra level.
It's phenomenal. Like yesterday when I was checking out some of the showcases and some of those 5-minute pitches and stuff, there's a few artists. I mean, you guys would be included with hip hop. There's a few that I came across, and I am a fan of the genres, and I know some of these songs anyway.
Yeah.
But to see a live band on stage with the person performing is completely different story than somebody rap.
Absolutely.
Even if they produced it
no,
themselves.
it's way better. It's
And
a
even an
different
extra
feeling.
point, even for our fans that know our songs so well, and then they come to the show and they get to hear that same song they love amplified, I
Yeah.
think that is huge for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge.
it's way better for us. Like
Yeah.
performing is so much easier. When you have somebody else on stage with you,
Absolutely.
and the more people you have, the less awkward it just seems to be.
Sure, that
but then
makes
on top of that, like they're literally playing the song with us, and I know that sounds obvious and stupid, but it's like we're all doing this together, and it's like we're just more into it as a group. Like I would have never ever played in a band. I was always just gonna be like a rapper, is what I had planned on doing. So like now I'm in we're just in a band now, pretty much, and our band just plays the music that we've made and are making, and it's like it's just so much fun on stage now. It's like,
I
totally
wouldn't want to
different.
do another show without Connor and Neil Lemoy, who's our guitar player.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do another one. It's just so much fun, and I think it's so like raw and pure, and just it's awesome.
And it's honestly like it has to be because they play in these other bands, and those bands are also super awesome.
Yeah.
But they're also playing like this music that they're making from the ground up, and like that's way harder for them to learn and do. Like and I'm sure a totally different kind of fun. But for us, like they're so good at what they do, they just picked it up
Yeah.
It took 2 seconds.
Like literally, like
Connor's an awesome drummer. Neil is one of the most talented guitar players. He just comes
They just pick it up.
in when we do practice, and he'll just like
I'll play a new song he's never heard, and he's already playing like a lick over it. I'm like, okay, well, this is easy. I'll go home. Yeah, so
Exactly.
like, that's also super fun. Is like, they kind of just get to do something different than what they are doing as well.
It's to add a collaboration on top of what you did already.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I've noticed too with these bands around, that the people that are multiple bands, they're not like you might have a bass player that plays in 3 bands, but you might go see them and they're playing keyboards in one band and they're playing bass in another band.
Right.
And they're singing in another band.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So it's been a great environment, especially where the podcast is already that kind of thing anyway. But I was really excited when I was reading about saying Punk Us live shows. I was thinking, all right, so they must have a live band. That was my first indication. Then when I was researching, I saw about Connor. So you guys had So What out just at the end of the summer, was it? Or was it during the summer?
We don't remember. End of September.
Okay. I knew it was, I thought it was like a month
No, it was
or
before
so.
that. It was before September because we played it at the show. I think it was the end of August is when it was.
Okay.
When it came out?
Yeah.
And now you're into a new single, like just this last week.
Just this last week.
Is that
Best
timing
Friends.
for your showcase here as well?
Yeah, we're also just like working on moving towards releasing another album.
Yeah,
cool.
It just really like coincidentally it fell in place with our album rollout and single rollout.
Yep.
Like Music Week did. So, but I'm excited to play both those songs.
And so this is not going to actually air until after Music Week.
Oh, sweet.
So the people listening are not going to be able to hear that you're playing at the Belly Up Barbecue and Grill tomorrow night. But
I was just about to plug myself real hard. I'm glad you stopped me before I
I
embarrassed
was going to
myself.
say,
I was about to plug you too. I had written down. I was like, oh
I
shit,
did
they're
see
not going
that
to
you
hear
have a
it.
little mini tour going on there.
Yeah, so I'll slide that too.
So I'm not sure exactly which date this is going to end up online.
You don't even need to
but
read those.
What I'll do is I'll go back to this list when we post it and do the promotion for the episode, and I'll throw in whatever tour dates are coming.
Cool.
And what could people expect then if they're listening to it? They're not people that were necessarily here this weekend, so what could they expect from a live show?
Oh man,
I feel like people that have just met us, and we're pretty collected and chill, but it's like as soon as you come to a live show, you might not even realize who you're looking at.
You know what I think you know what I find crazy about it is that like I've seen bands and stuff before where like their specific genre or the type of music they make is just not really of my taste. Like it's just not the type of music I would listen to in my own time. Mm-hmm. But their live performance is so like engaging and fun that like I like watching them live because it's like an experience. And I think I'm realizing that we have a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. Is like with how many genres of music we make, it's like obviously there are some people and fans who like everything we do, but that's not probably mostly the case because of how crazy different some of the songs are. But when we're live, they enjoy it all because
it just all blends together perfectly.
Live changes everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I'll listen to live and go to a show, but I'm not going to probably download and listen to it in the car.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
Totally.
It makes a big difference.
Definitely.
It really helps with these types of showcases too, where you do have all genres and everyone's in the room.
Yeah.
They might be like, oh, I'm probably going to leave after this. And then you come on stage and you're like, oh, actually, I didn't know what it was, but I really like it. So like it's,
I'm really excited to play because like when we did our little 5-minute showcase here, like really hard to like give the proper energy. Like we're used to playing
it's like 11 is too early for punk rock.
Yeah.
It's just like
in a hall with like people sitting in chairs and like drinking coffee. It's like we're used to like a bar where everything smells bad.
But I do think it took us a long time to figure it out. But I think we figured out how to put on an awesome live show.
Sure.
And I just it's just a party when people come and they party, and it feels more like. I don't know. It's like it's an event every time. Like it's just like you gotta go, you gotta show up. Like everyone's there, and it's just like I don't know. It's awesome. I'm really happy with the way that we're running things.
I'm glad the way we did it though is that like from the first show that we played until now, it's like almost every show there was some form of like minor progression about our live performance. Like I don't think we would have been able to have as good of a live show if we started with a band, for example.
No, I think we had to earn that.
And then we did.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
We started with like full backtracks, like just with a DJ, me and him, and you could like all of our voices were in every part of the beat. Mm-hmm. Like we were rapping over our songs essentially, and that's how we started. And that's not widely accepted, but the small shows that we were playing, it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And then we slowly started turning the vocals down and like
cutting parts of the vocals out,
cutting the mode, and then like we thought about introducing drums, and then we kind of started to get in with guitar, and we had a guy who was doing guitar for us who was like, he wasn't a guitar player, he was did everything that we needed to have a good show, but then once he had to move on to something else, we got like somebody who's really good at guitar, and then that completely changed how we played the songs, and it's just built kind of like
we've progressed a lot over the past.
But we didn't jump at it. I'm glad that we kind of took our time so that we could appreciate everything that we added or took away, and
the natural growth kind of felt.
Yeah. Feels natural and authentic.
What point did I was contacted to do this through your manager,
right?
Yeah. So at what point did you start getting involved where you're like, well, we need a manager, we can't just do it on our own anymore?
He had actually Dryden had reached out to us.
Okay.
He had saw that we did a show in Bridgewater. It was actually my Atay's first show, and some footage went flying around, and he contacted us, and we were, reluctant at first, given that this was he was away in Sweden, and I was 19 and in Dartmouth by myself.
And you accidentally had the rock star dream of somebody contacting you saying, I heard your music and I want this on you.
I was like, who is this random man? But
also, to the point earlier, we were not a duo.
So
we're also this is odd.
To sign on, the manager would have been to put the nail in the casket as of being a duo.
Yeah.
So, but we originally said no, and then one night, me and Atay were like, you know what, let's just send it, and it was probably the best decision we've ever made as partners.
It was just like, there was so much stuff. I think from my perspective, because I do the mixing and mastering and a bunch of stuff, I was like, and at the time also like preparing for all the videos with a buddy of mine named Rob, who did a couple of our videos with us, and like, I was like, I can't do anymore. Like, we need help. It's kind of growing to the point where we're kind of stupid if we don't, ask for help and pick the right person. And Dryden was obviously the right person. And it was the best decision we made.
Yeah, we've built this team up like the Avengers.
Honestly, one film at a time.
It was me and Atay, and we've added like 7-8 people to our roster of team. Awesome. And it's just so cool to see that. I love it.
And it's only been a few days since Best Friends was released.
Yeah, I think about a week probably.
Getting some good traction on that so far.
Actually, honestly, no. And I don't think it's not. This is a whole discussion we're having internally. It's not the song. We're confident it's not the song. We are not single guys. We don't release singles. And so having released So What, we hadn't released a song together in a long time,
and So What did fine.
Yeah, So What did good, but that's traditionally how it works for us when we release. We usually always did one single in the album, which is not the best way to do it, but that's just how we did,
and it worked for us.
And then now, like, trying to push singles, I just don't think our fan base is super used to us doing singles.
Yeah, and
we moved to new profiles on our DSPs, so like. Any people who followed us on Apple Music and Spotify, like, they're not getting notified now.
You're not alone in that, by the way. I've noticed that. I mean, everyone's doing a great job of showcasing their own act here. But I have noticed that from research, and there's a couple people that you can tell that this was the beginning of their career, and now this is the A game. Yeah, they're in the majors now. This is the start. They're starting over, but at the higher level. So.
Yeah, that was the whole like he said, putting the nail in the coffin.
Kind of doing a soft reboot of Atay and Jax, and not losing all that we have, but we have to build some stuff up again.
Right, leaving everything else that we did on our old profiles, and then now we have a shared profile. Yeah. It's not like Atay has a Spotify, Jax has a Spotify.
It's just like Atay and Jax on
it. So like nobody's getting notified that we're releasing, and we're not popping up on people's release radars because that profile is brand new.
So you are kind of rebuilding your like a social media fan base is being rebuilt.
Yes,
or maybe the song sucks.
Option
B.
I do like the song.
I love the song too. And the people that are listening, they say it's like one of their absolute favorites.
The people who are listening are engaging. Honestly, more than So What. It's just that people haven't listened to it yet.
There's such a huge volume online of songs,
but that's going to happen too, right? Like this kind of stuff happens, and you just deal with it and move on to the next.
And are either you guys coming on Saturday night? Will you be?
I was hoping to, but unfortunately, I'm not going to make that. That's why I was excited to see that you're doing. little tour around the province there, because I might be able to catch one of your other shows.
That
would be really cool.
I was gonna say we're playing that song live, and it's
really?
It's
so
one of my
fun
favorites.
live.
Actually, might be my favorite song to do live right now.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I love
live.
that one.
So we do normally at the end, like this is a little different because we're just doing the backstage music week thing. But our regular episodes in a regular season, we usually tag a song or two on the end.
Tag
With,
best
like
friend.
just yeah. Do you want me to add best friends onto the end of this for our listeners since we're talking about it?
Confirm whether I'm crazy or not.
Yeah,
that
fair
would be
enough.
awesome.
No.
So everyone listening can hear that at the end of this episode. It will
Perfect.
just keep playing right into it.
Awesome, yeah.
And hopefully everyone agrees that it is a good song, and everyone goes out and starts subscribing and following you and help you build your base back up, because it's
That's the dream.
like I said, it's top notch. And Andrew's my brother, so growing up we gravitate towards our rock music usually, but we were big Beastie Boys fans. I used to be into like Far
we've got
Side,
Public Enemy,
KRS-One, like there was
Anthrax
a lot
doing
of
the Public Enemy mixes.
yes, exactly. And you guys definitely fit into that kind of
Subcategory,
older school of
We've
hip-hop,
gotten
but into
the
rock.
Beastie Boys.
We've gotten the Beastie Boys a lot.
Yeah.
I think especially live,
Which is a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be. If you guys said it, I wouldn't have accepted the interview. I'd be like, "Who do they think they are?" But,
fair though. That's totally fair.
but other people saying it,
You gotta catch a show then, and you'll get it.
yeah,
definitely.
perfect.
Definitely cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
It's I was not very familiar with the Beastie Boys, and somebody mentioned it to me.
Okay.
I think we had gotten a couple comparisons, and then I watched like their documentary, and I was like, yeah, this is honestly fucking
This
weird.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's basically it.
Yeah,
But especially the genre switching, like there's a lot of it that's really comparable. Like the way that they just started making whatever genres they wanted and like experimenting and
They went punk to rap, and then they just went everything all in one album.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's the obvious comparison to something pretty mainstream, I guess. For sure. But even like within the Nova Scotia rap community, I know some of the artists. I'm familiar with a few. There's not a lot that I follow heavily, but I didn't see anything else that was similar to what you guys were doing. It's definitely a unique sound for Nova Scotia.
That's what we're going for. Yeah.
And so, I mean, you guys obviously are going to start breaking out into other markets in the next couple of years. Like that's
I would
gonna be your
hope.
goal.
I would hope in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
We've been waiting so long to get out there.
So
I'm
maybe
ready.
after you do this little mini tour and have some new stuff to promote or something, we can circle back, because we will be doing a season 3 for the Jam Sessions podcast.
Would love to.
So-
Love to, yeah, absolutely.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
Well, to give you a
That would be
life
super
update on Best Friends.
Yeah.
See if it ever flopped.
And
Yeah.
we'll try to catch one of these live shows in the meantime.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
you should. They'll be packed out. They're selling right now. Like we get to watch it sell because it's all on sale and it's doing well. It's gonna be awesome.
For 2 days out, it's doing great.
Did you have any extra questions besides my notes that we took?
No, I'm good there.
Okay.
But where can we find you guys online? Where can we follow you? Where can we share?
Atay Jax on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My personal our personals are linked to that. So the easiest way is to just look for Atay.
I'm
Jax
still gonna
and-
say mine.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you read it out loud since you refuse to change your Instagram.
Jackson JAXON 666 _.
Oh, there you go. See, that fits right in with us too.
Yeah.
And Atay 426.
Mine's just it's Atay. ITSATAY.
Perfect.
Well, what I'll do too is all this stuff I'll put it in the show notes, so there's hyperlinks for people that are listening,
Awesome,
and
yeah.
I can just pop an email off and get everything from your manager there too. Just make sure we're all good.
Love it.
We'll add. Is there any other songs besides Best Friends? Sometimes what I do is, instead of something that you're promoting right now, if there's anything at all from your catalog that is maybe different that you'd want people to hear, or maybe it's just a favorite of yours that you haven't heard, or
You have to follow Best Friends, maybe like a PG-13.
sure, that's
Just
that's
to
my
be-
favorite
yeah.
out of the ones I've heard
Yeah.
so far. So I'm happy. you said
Just to
that.
be a full, just so that you get the idea of how fucking
Absolutely.
obviously
I've
it
heard
can
it.
be.
That's an awesome song. Too. I
Yeah,
love it.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm officially changing my name to Atay Spryfield.
That's pretty
Atay
good.
Spryfield.
I'm 96.
All right. So
Yeah. Go ahead.
thanks for listening, and thanks to Atay Jax for joining us today. And we'll be here all weekend doing more interviews. Stay tuned.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
I'm not enough, and you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much. And you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much. 17, you were everything. I used to wear my mom's car like it's a limousine. All the memories, that dude's my enemy. I know he's everything you want, but he just isn't me. And I want you, but I can't really get you. And I miss you, but I can't really fix you. Give me a chance, you know I'd take it. I can't make a promise, you know I'd break it for you. I'm not enough, and you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much. And you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much.
I feel so sick when your name's on my iPhone. Told you I loved you, I'm too drunk to drive home. Faster and faster, you look so happy, I've never been sadder. It doesn't matter, how did this happen? Well, I can't relate to the problems he caused you while I was away. But it looks so dark in here, why can't I see? I wanna stay with you, wish it was me.
I'm not enough, and you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much. And you don't really give a fuck. We're best friends, but I'm in love. You tell me give it up, but I can't do that, it hurts too much.
I got a bad bitch, she wanna live life lavish. Anything she can imagine, she can never have it. Because my credit card is maxed out. Do it for the gram, she gon' drop it with her ass out. $1,000 bands, I think I'ma buy the cash out. We put in the work while she tryna take the fast route. I don't text back now, I cannot repeat that shit. She gets attention cause she needs that shit. But so what? So what? So what? She got a lot of money, she don't get a lot of love. So what? So what? So what? She do it for the gram, she don't do it for much. She no fun, no fun, no fun. Spend nights in the club and a day in the sun. So what's up? What's up? What's up? Put some liquor in my cup, now she pissing, I'm drunk. But so what?
I know a girl who could ruin my life. Shit, what you doing tonight? I got what you want if you need a unwind. Send me to Eddie, I'm making the time. Dinner with steak and some wine. If you feeling down, then I'm making it so right. Text back, babe. Text back, and I'll slide through quick. I know you know I wanna hit it, baby. And I don't miss. 100 girls wanna kick it, but I got my bitch. You say you got another man, and he's great. So what?
So what? So what? She got a lot of money, she don't get a lot of love. So what? So what? So what? She do it for the gram, she don't do it for much. She no fun, no fun, no fun. Spend nights in the club and a day in the sun. So what's up? What's up? What's up? Put some liquor in my cup, now she pissing, I'm drunk. But so what? She ain't fucking with me, got no ice up on my wrist. And if you tell me that you love me, I might feel like I'm the shit. We can whip it through the city, put that cig on your lips. Even though we from the east, you can treat it like the six.
I keep it real, super duper cow, cause you know I know the deal. Tell me about your day, how you been, how you feel. We can hit the road, smell the rubber from the wheels. Used to drive me crazy, now you got me on my heels. I said it once, I'ma say it again. We're not friends, I don't care, I'm not playing pretend. Goddamn, guess I never should've taken the chance. You said you got another man, and he's great. So what?
So what? So what? She got a lot of money, she don't get a lot of love. So what? So what? So what? She do it for the gram, she don't do it for much. She no fun, no fun, no fun. Spend nights in the club and a day in the sun. So what's up? What's up? What's up? Put some liquor in my cup, now she pissing, I'm drunk. But so what?